Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to the Football Overview YouTube channel, and welcome to the English Championship predictions for another week. And it is game week 6 that we focus on this weekend, and there are games on 4 days. There's a single game on Friday, and a single game on Sunday, and a single game on Monday, and the other 9 games are across the kickoff times on Saturday. So it's a full programme, as you would expect. And we'll have a little look at game week 5, a few of the key moments and key results from that and what it's done to the table. And we'll start off then by looking at Friday night's game this coming week, and it is Middlesbrough versus West Bromwich Albion. Now, Middlesbrough, as I say, well, I haven't said yet maybe, but they did drop their first points in a tricky game away at Preston. 2 each draw ended up. And Middlesbrough now have 13 points from their 5 completed games, and they are still top of the league, but only by a point from Stoke, who had a good win. We'll talk about them in a bit. And Bristol City also had a good win, and they are in 3rd place. So Middlesbrough just holding everybody off at the moment, but they have dropped their first points. And they're playing West Brom, who had a surprise 1-0 home defeat to Derby, and it's Derby who have shown a bit of mettle this season. That's probably winning away at West Brom was probably their best result since they returned to the Championship, I would say. Really difficult place to go and win. They managed it. Fair play to them. But West Brom then, they'll want to. They're in the playoff bracket, so they're doing okay. But I think this is a tricky one. Friday night, first up at the weekend. I think Middlesbrough will just nick it. I'm going to take Middlesbrough 2, West Bromwich Albion 1. Takes us on to the Saturday 12:30s, 3 of those, as always. And the first one up is Birmingham against Swansea. Now, Birmingham had a narrow defeat at Stoke. A lot of Birmingham's games have been close, haven't they? And they've lost a couple of these close ones and drawn one as well. So, they're not free scoring at the moment, Birmingham, so they need to really shore up the defence if they're going to get the wins. And Swansea had, for me, a bit of a surprise 2 each draw home to Hull. I thought they would have taken the 3 points there, but Hull, albeit down in the bottom area of the table, picking up their first point, and a good 2 each draw. So Birmingham against Swansea. Then I think Birmingham will again be in one of these tight games that they seem to be in all the time, and I'm going to take them to just nick it by a 1-0. So Birmingham City 1, Swansea City 0 there with home advantage. Then we have Leicester City against Coventry City, and Leicester City, again, a bit of a surprise. A lot of draws about the weekend, and they weren't usually surprise ones. And this was a surprise, a 2 each draw down at Oxford. Because Oxford had been struggling a little bit, really. So that was a bit of a surprise to pick up a point there. And Coventry, after all those goals a couple of weeks or so ago, seemed to have dried up a little bit. And they drew 1 each with Norwich at home. So they'll be disappointed to have dropped home points there. And I think they'll go down again this weekend to Leicester. I think Leicester just showing their mettle a little bit. 10 points from their 5 games. And I think they'll seal up a home win here. Look, Leicester City 2, Coventry City 1. Now we have the final 12:30 kickoff is Queen's Park Rangers against Stoke City. Now Stoke City had a brilliant, excellent 1-0 win at home to Birmingham. As I say, another 1-0 game for Birmingham, and they went down. And Queen's Park Rangers had an excellent win away at Wrexham. And the Wrexham really haven't quite got going yet. They're just above the relegation line after 5 games. I'm sure their owners are waiting for something to really click here with the money they've spent, etc. So there we are. Phil Parkinson under a little bit of pressure, I would have thought. If no one said anything yet, you can just almost feel the undercurrent that the owners want to be partying up the top of or near the top of the table. So an excellent win for QPR though, away from home down up at Wrexham, and I think they'll follow that up. Although Stoke have started the season really well, Queen's Park Rangers are scoring goals, and it's their defence that's been a bit of a nemesis for them. But I think at home they'll probably concede again, so I'm going to take them to nick it by 2-1. QPR 2, Stoke City 1. Then we go to Blackburn Rovers against Ipswich Town. Now, a story coming out of the Ipswich match, not related to Ipswich as such. Ipswich, as you may recall, on Friday night, first up last weekend, beat Sheffield United 5-0, which culminated in Sheffield United having lost all 6 of their fixtures this season, the 1 in the Cup and the 5 league games. And it resulted in, on Sunday, Ruben Sellers being removed of his duties. And he's been replaced by no other than Chris Wilder for his 3rd appointment at Sheffield United. 2 of them, I think, have been SOS calls, come back and save us, or help us. It's not exactly saving them this season yet, is it? It's not that bad. But they've gone back to type, having sacked him only in the summer. A bit of a circus going on at Sheffield United. I suppose you can argue, at least the owners think, OK, we got that wrong. We should have stuck with what we know. Better the devil you do than whatever the saying is. The grass was not greener on the Ruben Sellers side of the fence, unfortunately. So that's Sheffield United, who will see who they're playing shortly. Ipswich Town, who did the damage and the final nails in Ruben Sellers' coffin, are away at Blackburn. Blackburn had a very good win down at Watford. It's not easy to win there, generally speaking. 1-0. But I think there'll be goals in this one. I think they'll be shared. So I'm going Blackburn Rovers 2, Ipswich Town 2. The second 3 o'clock then is Derby County against Preston North End. Preston, as I say, nicked points. First team to nick points off Middlesbrough. Hats off to them. And Derby County's had this fantastic win at West Bromwich Albion. So Preston are just hard to beat, aren't they? They're really a dogged side. Not a dogged side, that's a bit harsh. They've made some really good signings in the summer, and they're looking at a much more together outfit. And I think this will be a tough one at Derby, with Derby's renewed confidence. But I think it's going to end up all square. Derby County 1, Preston North End 1. Now we go on to Hull City at home to Southampton. Long trek for Southampton, but they won't be fazed by that, I'm sure. Hull City, they picked up their first point against Swansea, so they are underway. They're home. Well, they just need to get points at home and start to get the home fans believing. Southampton, of course, played the first Portsmouth derby, or South Coast derby, against Portsmouth for 13 seasons. Then it was all a bit of a damp squib. Much ado about 0-0. Not much to speak of. I think Portsmouth had the better of the first half, Southampton had the better of the second half. And that's really sums it up in a nutshell, really. So there was plenty of hype, as I may have said on last week's clip, leading up to the match. You couldn't sort of turn a radio or TV on without it being mentioned locally after every few moments. But there we go. It's all a bit of a damp squib. I think neither side wanted to lose face, having not played each other in the league for so long. So both sides shook on a 0-0. But I think Southampton here will go up to Hull and take the points. They need to start clicking soon if they're going to make an impression at the top that they're expecting to do. So Hull City 1, Southampton 2. Portsmouth then are home to Sheffield Wednesday. Now, Sheffield Wednesday had a 3-0 home loss to Bristol City, who are doing very nicely, thank you, as I say, 3rd in the league at the moment. And they put away Sheffield Wednesday even, all in the first half. It was 3-0 at half time, and then, as so often in these games when that happens, it sort of just drifted away in the second half. And Bristol City just managed it well and came away with the points. So Sheffield Wednesday feeling the effects now, I think, of a small squad, not being able to add any signings to it because of the embargo, and again, all the off-field rumblings that just keep rumbling, I think. So I think Portsmouth will be fresh from having gone down the road to their neighbours, and all the hoo-ha that went with that. They came away with a well-earned point, and I think they'll add to that and keep another clean sheet on Saturday. I'm going to go Portsmouth 2, Sheffield Wednesday 0. Nipping across to the other half of Sheffield, and as we now know, they have a new manager, or a returning new manager. And Chris Wilder for his 3rd. I wonder if he's going to hold up a scarf and do all of that malarkey that new managers do, having only sort of dropped it 4 or 5 months ago. All very strange, really, that they can find no one else to break the Chris Wilder mould. I suppose if it ain't, well, they didn't. I was going to say if it ain't broke, don't mend it, but they did break it, didn't they? When they really probably didn't have to. Yes, it was a massive disappointment not to win that playoff game, having gone ahead, and then Sunderland winning it on the very last kick almost. Anyway, that's all past tense. They're starting another new era, almost starting the season again, I guess. But they still have no points and no wins on their under their belt. This will be a toughie, but I think they'll break their duck and we'll get everybody on the points board after this weekend. They're playing Charlton. Charlton had a dogged 1-1 draw with Millwall, had a player sent off. Charlton, that is. And I think they were leading 1-0 to very late on, even with 10 men. But so yeah, they'd be disappointed. They had a bright start, and then they've just faded a little bit. But that, I'm sure, to be expected. They've come up a new division. They came up to the playoffs, which gives you less time to prepare for the new level you're going into. But anyway, there we go. I think Sheffield United then will get their first point and get Chris Wilder on his way. Sheffield United 1, Charlton 1. 2 to go then. And Bristol City, as I mentioned, third place, doing very nicely. Scoring goals. I say that's surprising, didn't I? But that was their difficulty last year, to score goal consistency. I'm still not sure they've got an out-and-out striker that's going to get 15 goals a season, but we shall see. They're playing Oxford United, who had a great point, took a great point off Leicester at the weekend at home. I think Bristol City, though, will be too strong. They'll see Oxford as a 3-pointer in their eyes. And if you're going to have any impression in the top 6, you have to beat Oxford United at home. I know that's harsh on Oxford a little bit, but it's just a reality of what the division is. And Oxford will be one of the sides, I think, in the bottom reaches come the end of the season. So there we go. So Bristol City will want to push on with a chance here. Home on a Sunday. I'm not sure why it's 3 o'clock on a Sunday. Haven't worked that out quite. I don't know if it's on the television. Anyway, it's Bristol City will come out whenever it's played. They will win, in my opinion. Bristol City 2, Oxford United 0. That's on Sunday, and we go into Monday next week, and we've got Millwall against Watford left over to Monday night. As I say, Millwall took a late point down at Charlton, and Watford had a poor loss at home to Blackburn. So Watford need to sort of liven up a little bit. And this is a very difficult game. There's sort of a localish flavour to it. Watford just up in Hertfordshire to come down to the Den on a Monday night. I'm sure Millwall will give them a very nice welcome. And I think Watford may well withstand all of that and just nick the point that they that they will need. So I'm going to say Millwall 1, Watford 1. Excuse me. So there we are. That's it. Game week 6 summarised. Look forward to. Have a lovely weekend, everybody. Whatever you're doing, stay safe, stay healthy, and please do not forget to subscribe to the channel. It's a click of your forefinger or whatever, or your button on your phone. Just please support the channel in that way. You're supporting it by viewing, but please support it by subscribing. It does help the guys reach targets that they want to get to and sustain the quality that they provide. So get your family members on the case, as I say every week. But more important than that, as I say, please stay healthy, and I will see you all again for game week 7 next week. Thanks for watching.